Hello and welcome back to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout about Euro 2024. My name is Ed. You can follow me on Twitter or X at _fantasyed. Today, what are we doing? We're talking to Chris James again at Elfozzie. You might have seen his team reveal earlier in the week or last week or whenever it was. We caught up about some of the fixtures, some of the data available on Fantasy Football Scout, and a bit of chip strategy chat as well, if you hadn't had enough of that already. If you haven't, by the way, figured out your chip strategy, it is essential to do so. So listen to this to get a bit of insight on where me and Chris are at. Please do like and subscribe to the stream if you are playing Euro 2024 Fantasy. It's the place to be as we head through the tournament to make sure you have everything you need to get the best score possible. If you're listening on podcast, then please do, audio podcast that is, please do leave a 5-star, leave a review. Why not? Right, let's head on over and see what me and Chris talked about. So I'm here with Chris at Elfozzie once again as we get closer and closer to the deadline for Euro 2024 Fantasy. Chris, you obviously came on and did your team reveal the other day. There was a few things you needed to change. I think that became clear, and you already knew that, of course. You brought your team, and as we said at the time, it was for us all to learn together. But have you made a few changes in that?
I have made a few changes. I have now, that was the first early draft, and since then I've been absorbing content. I've been listening to podcasts, your various podcasts, the guides. I've been pouring through the sites, which we'll talk about in a minute, pulling out information, working out how I'm going to change it. And so I've got quite a different team, made quite a few changes since we spoke last. People like Ronaldo's not going to play the first game. Feels like that was not good to keep him in, really. Very expensive.
In fact, Chris, latest news once again is that he now is, because I know this is another learning method for us all. You can't listen to one podcast and then go away and choose your team. You need to stay up to date. So everyone, make sure you like and subscribe.
I thought you listened the other day.
I know, but yesterday Portugal had a friendly, and he did start, and he scored 2 goals against Ireland. So he's in top form. And so, yes, I think the reason we said that in the other podcast, if you have listened to the audio podcast, the UEFA Fantasy podcast that I do, I know a lot of you do listen to it. Roberto Martinez, the manager of Portugal, which I didn't even realise until recently. He didn't even do a good job at Belgium, did he? How's he there?
Ex-Evertonian. Yeah, exactly. Ex-Evertonian was great for us.
He said Ronaldo was a doubt for the first game. But what he meant was, I think, he was a doubt for the friendly, but then he made it. So it's all gone away. He's going to start the Euros, and wouldn't surprise me.
But now I've got to take him out again. I've got to take out Kane that I put in instead
exactly.
Of him to go back.
The first 3 minutes, your team is cast back into doubt. So I'm very sorry. Read it to us, Chris. Read us your team. Have you got it? Have you got it in front of you?
I'll read the team. I had. To be honest, that was a fluctuating position anyway, so I had to change to allow myself the space to get to Kane and stuff in the future, depending how things are going. So I've got sort of in that. It's got Pickford, Mittelstadt. I'm looking at the dates now. Mittelstadt, Kirkes, Van Dijk, and Akanji, and they're all in because they're playing earlier at the moment. And then Gundogan, Szoboszlai, McTominay at the moment, who I have actually kind of warmed on, and Rodri, who's a pick that's kind of come out from listening to a bit of advice. I do love Rodri for City, but he's kind of a bit of an enabler, really. I was messing about. What I've managed to do is I've shunned now the England midfield. I was desperate to get either kind of Saka or Foden. Now I have neither of them. And up front we've got Lukaku and Kane, but that might be going back to Ronaldo again. And then on the bench I've got Lunin, who might go, but he's just the kind of stop.
I think he's a good pick, Lunin. I do. The first game's against Romania, isn't it? And Romania aren't a prolific goal scorers, so it could be a good clean sheet. But
So, and there's some good keeper choices. I was looking at the French goal because that was a recommendation to come out a few places, but it's just getting the price tags right. So I've got Mbappe, Faze, and Trossard on the bench, but only because they're playing later in the week, and will some of them will definitely come on. But yeah, Kane to Ronaldo was with the most recent switch, and to do that, to make a few other switches, make it, because I want to be able to have Kane, but I kind of want to see England play before I
know
decide.
It's one of those, isn't it? I've lost all faith. I know it's so stupid to look at one game against Iceland, but it was at home.
But to be honest, we weren't as convincing. I mean, we got a convincing scoreline in the previous match, but which we can talk about friendlies a bit. But we weren't. Like, it was it kind of got laid on later on, didn't it? It wasn't. I don't think we absolutely kind of bossed that either. it doesn't feel quite right at the moment. Something it's just not. I can't remember how exciting, how good it was
Yeah.
in the previous Euros, where suddenly we started playing with this freedom and this attacking verb,
Well,
and just it got better and better throughout the tournament until we then abandoned it at the
it's
end of the
interesting.
first
Yeah,
half
the
against
rumors.
Italy.
Yeah, the rumors sort of coming out for England team. It's a bit interesting because Southgate now has said, if I don't win the Euros, I probably won't be still with England after it. So
Yeah,
he's in a situation where it's sort of, this is his last throw of the dice, really. He either wins it and maybe stays, or he doesn't. And it seems like the rumours seems to suggest that he's going to kind of go for it, because if these rumours by kind of respected journalists, they've said that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to start in that midfield slot next to Declan Rice.
Rice.
That suggests an attacking team, and it also suggests it would mean that Bellingham must be in the 10, because you're not going to play Bellingham on the left and you're not going to drop Bellingham. And Foden's going to go onto the left because you're not going to drop Foden. Which means the team kind of, if that's true, the team is, we know the team now. It's going to be Rice and Bellingham, Rice and Trent, and he's immediately an interesting option if he's going to start, because he's 5.5 million defender in the game, so we'll get clean sheet points.
Forward, playing out position defender.
Position.
As he has been for years.
Exactly. I know, he's never been in position. That's the problem. That's why everyone just gets past him. And then this front kind of three behind Kane of Bellingham in the middle, Foden on the left, and Saka on the right, and then Kane up top. Yeah. It's the defence that's a bit uncertain, obviously, with Maguire injury. Now Stones is off sick and he's been quarantined in the camp. So.
Gueye was down, wasn't he, as well?
Gueye was down for 10 minutes in the game with a head thing, but I think he's going to be okay. So it's just we're getting down. Gareth Southgate's going to have to start a centre back.
Shaw's obviously not fit either. There's just not. It's a really odd choice. As you know, I'm a massive Branthwaite advocate, and I was quite surprised.
I was surprised as well.
Because I think defensively is kind of what a lot of England teams always built on. That looks like our weakest point in this going into tournament.
Definitely is.
Well, at least defensively, we'll be able to hold on and get to pens or something.
Yeah.
Whereas our attack might not be creative enough. Whereas now we've got like one of the most we've got too many creative attacking players, but our defense is a bit like, oh, these are good players, but they're not really fit, are they? So how's that going to work? So
it's not ideal at all.
But he's going to go for it.
I think he's going to go for it. I think he is, but I was actually surprised we didn't take Branthwaite as well. And it's a classic Southgate thing that he trusts the players that he's used before and that he knows. Like even Guehi, I know you think Guehi has played for England before and he's been in previous camps and things like that before he was injured. I think maybe only one or two, but Southgate kind of got to know him a bit more. Branthwaite was completely new to him, and Southgate's not the sort of manager who's going to just chuck in someone completely new and take them away. Now he's done it with Wharton and he's done it with Mainu. So maybe I'm completely wrong, but I did just think Branthwaite was an obvious choice. He's left-footed centre back, come in there and at least on the bench. But now Stones is ill, Maguire's gone, he's only just come back from 9 months being injured or something. It's a bit ropey.
We should. Well, I mean, obviously we'll see, but I guess that's why I'm still sticking with Pickford, but I maybe my Kane straight Ronaldo option, but yeah, I'm less sure. I want to kind of just see us play like I think we can play before I get into that. But yeah, I'm not like I'm going to keep changing and tinkering right up until the last gasp. I expect to spend a full few hours on Friday afternoon and before the deadline, sort of playing around with that. The thing I haven't sorted out yet, and I need to I think it causes you sleepless nights as well, is this chip strategy, because I had kind of what I thought I was going to do, and now I'm not sure.
Oh, same. The more I think about it, the more confused I get, because I actually put out a tweet saying, playing all your chips in the group stages is sabotage. I put that out, right? Because I'd come to that conclusion. I thought, because I just thought, look, if there's any chaos in the round of 16 and you've got no chips left to sort it out, you're going to be stuffed, because if 8 players get knocked out, 9 players, you've only got 3 transfers between the round of 16 and the quarterfinals. It's going to be rubbish, right? Then I did a podcast with Lewis, who was a great player at these games. I've got to say, I know I beat him in UCL Fantasy this season.
Did you?
Just to mention that again.
It's something you should probably mention more in the podcast, because I think it doesn't.
Really I am quite good at UCL Fantasy as well, but he is a master at these games, and he did just very, very well, very carefully, very thoughtfully explain why using your chips in the group stage is just the best option. And it came down to, but I'm still thinking this through. But ultimately it comes down to, if you are leaving a chip for the knockouts, it's not the aggressive play, it's the safe play. It's the one that, and you're actually going against the odds there. You're keeping it in case a bigger team loses against a weaker team, and it's a surprise. So to base a chip strategy on something less likely to happen is an odd way of doing it. Now, if Praz was here, for example, he'd say, because he's leaving a wildcard to the quarterfinals, he would say, yeah, but the key thing about the wildcard in the quarterfinals isn't just the protection it gives you, it's that it turns the round of 16 into a completely free hit, because you get the free transfers going in, round of 16, then he'll play a wildcard. So that round of 16 for him is going to be a complete free hit, whereas for me, it won't be. If I've already used all my chips, I'm going to have to carefully think. So the question is, where do you want your upside, as Praz says? Do you want it in the round of 16 with the free hit there, and then you can mop up anything with the wild card, or do you want it in the groups? Now, I think doing it in the group, or rather, on the oscillating scale of where I'm falling, at the moment, I'm thinking that the chips in the groups is probably the best, and people who've watched my videos are probably going, "What, Ed? You did a chip strategy video and you didn't mention that." A new one is coming tomorrow to say I'm sorry. The caption's going to be "I'm sorry." New first draft, because obviously when you pick your chip strategy, it completely changes who you're going to pick. So that'll be coming on Thursday or Friday morning, maybe Friday morning. As I imagine, most players, I know there's keynotes who've been thinking about it for weeks, like you and me, Chris. But I think most people are probably now, the kind of more casual players, and that's not an insulting word, are probably only turning to it kind of the next couple of days, thinking, oh, well, what team should I do? And all this stuff will be new. The person here's it. I guarantee you, whoever's in first place at the end of the group stage has probably never even thought about chip strategy. They never considered it.
I think that's just the reality, right? I think the chips, like I was not worried about chips so much. I was thinking, well, we've got a team that looks good in the first game, and then it's going to play. I'm quite confident in most of them in the second game. But yeah, what I've kind of learned from listening to a lot of content and reading stuff is obviously that in the second round of fixtures, game week 2, as it were, is the challenge, right? Because a lot of the sort of bigger teams are kind of against each other, have harder fixtures. So it's kind of. That's your kind of it's not a blank game week, but that is that kind of challenge where you're not sure if you're going to mix it up, you do it then. But then that doesn't really work with chips, does it? I don't know, because you don't want to. Well, look, are you going to wildcard too? That's the thing. I don't. Yeah.
Something that is really helpful, has really helped me as I think it through, and I'm still not there, as you know, is actually some of the data on the Fantasy Football Scout website, including the fixture tracker. And we have got an amazing deal. In fact, I'll bring it up now. Just the if I can, not that. This one, right? So we've got an amazing deal at Fantasy Football Scout at the moment, which is a super early bird, essentially 40% off, and you're going to get all the Opta data for the Euros throughout the tournament, also all the qualifying, all the friendlies. It's all in there now, so you can be filtering players by position, by XG, by all these sorts of stats that the really good fantasy managers look into, and I need to do more of, I know. But on there as well, it's got a fixture ticker for the Euros that you can download. I did it today, actually. It's really easy. You click a link, you make yourself a copy in Google Sheets, and then you can manipulate it and say, right, do it by Matchday 2, do it by Matchday 3. And for chip strategy, this is what you want to be looking at, right? Really, really good, great offer. Super early bird. You don't just get the Euro Fantasy, you also get the FPL for the whole of next season. And I think, how much is it again, Chris? 40% off?
I think we're at total, it's, oh God. Good question. I should know that off the top of my head. I think it works out. If you buy it, you can buy it month by month, and it's like £5.29. I think we'll check this out now. I should know this. Let's get this right.
I can actually bring it up in front of us. Let's do that. Right. Let's have a look.
Get in front of us.
Okay. So if I click sign up now, here you go. Yeah. You can see that there. Save 40%. Super early bird. How
much a month is it?
It is £39 for a year.
Which is
come on.
What's the monthly?
£3.25.
£3.25 a month. I mean, that's for having all the Euros 2 months, all the pre-season stuff, which is immense. The thing that I will bang on about this a lot more once the kind of games, once the Euro excitement's abated a little and we're planning for FPL. But like, there is nowhere in the world that touches the work that Neil and the rest of the team do on the pre-season stuff. The data is so good, even the Premier League use it. So like, you just can't get that data for the minutes, and it's so critical for that your starting draft is to see who's playing, especially the new teams, and what the formations and how many minutes are getting, what goals, assists, etc. in pre-season. And that data doesn't even exist. Like places like Opta, Stats, whether they don't collate that data because it's all friendly matches. So it's quite a lot of work to pull together, but we present that. So that's great. And then obviously you get the full season of FPL content with the members area, the stats, tools, player comparisons, fixture ticker. We've got a new couple of things coming in. You got me off now. Again, we've also had rate my team points, but we've now got a thing called rate my plan, which is going to be more about, and we'll take more about in the next few weeks, which actually expands that out alongside our plan FPL planner, so you can properly rate your plan against the expected plan of the template and competitors. It's not just these players, not just thinking about the players you've got this match and how much they score the next 6 weeks. It's how your plan would score over the next 6 weeks according to the average. Might be a bit of AI in there. You never know. Everybody likes AI, don't they? Know the robot overlords.
Yes,
So
but
I
would say when AI is used in fantasy football websites, typically it's just a sophisticated spreadsheet. It's not ChatGPT.
The AI is not the one that Elon Musk or kind of
Sam Altman has made some AI for us. Yeah.
Sam Friedman has not spent several billion creating the same AI that's used in this thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some applications for some interesting stuff.
No, it's really good. Just on that, I would say, I've been involved with the Scout team for a while now, and I'm not full time with them anymore, but I'm still heavily involved.
You're not? What are you doing here?
And but I would say I think the level, the amount of content you get throughout a season and the quality of it is completely unparalleled. You do your own research. I tell you, if you're listening or if you're watching, do your own research. The amount we do is better and more than anywhere else. So it really is.
No, I mean there are other sources available, but yeah, it's the two things that you get the data you can play around with yourself and tools to play with yourself. And we're adding a few new ones which we'll talk about in the next few weeks. We might even have an app. Shh, don't tell anybody. That's very near. But it's also the analysis of it. So what you get is because I do enjoy going and looking at the heat maps and mess around with all that, but actually it's seeing the articles that are members only that explain the data and what that can mean is the thing that kind of makes difference for me. But yeah, anyway, enough of the sell. But yeah, I am going to be using it. I'm using it already a bit. I'm going to be using it more in the next couple of days as I fine tune.
Well, let me bring up on the screen. If you're listening on audio podcast, then what I'm just going to do is I'm just on the Fantasy Football Scout website. I'm just going to Euro 2024 and I'm just going to click the fixture ticker. There's loads of different things here. You see straight away Euro 2024. This is just for Euro 2024. This menu I'm looking at here. So I'm clicking fixture ticker, and even if you're not a member, you'll be able to see the start of this, and then it will say you need to log in like this, right? It'll say that there. But if you become a member and you log in, you can download it, and I mean you can see a little snapshot of it there. You can see Belgium with three green fixtures. You can see England with green, yellow, green. But then you can sort it there. You can see top right. You can sort it by match day, and so I will be looking at that. I've blocked out, as Chris said, I'm probably going to finish my last bit of content before the deadline, other than maybe a deadline stream that we're thinking about. But I've got like 3 hours blocked out to finally properly just go right.
Your team must be incredible though, because you can't have thought about this.
Don't say that.
You've been surrounded.
No, I know.
I do other things.
I know. I've interviewed the best managers, and it's just getting more and more confused. It's just like too much. It's too much, Chris. Honestly, don't say it because it should. You're right. The amount of hours I've done on YouTube and podcasts and looking into it, I should be the best, but I'm not going to be.
You should be the best. You should be the best. Do you think? I mean, the thing is, as always, there's a lot of advice, and I think the main thing with a lot of these services like ours, and I think we're probably the main premium service for the EOs. But I think the main thing is trying to find the differentials and trying to find those different points, because there will be a template team. There is always in every game, and this one will be no exception. With a certain number of players and that people have in them. I'm seeing verts in so many teams that I'm not even coming to my thinking, which makes me worry a little bit. But
18 goals and 19 assists last season. Or the other way around, 19 goals and 18 assists in all competitions. I only found that out the other day and I brought him in straight away. I listened to... Do you know what's really good, actually? I know we're just kind of randomly chatting, but I hope you guys are enjoying it at home. The Athletic podcast, I mean, do listen to the Fantasy Football Scout podcast first, everyone. But the Athletic audio podcast, they're doing a summer series of the top young talents at the Euros and Copa America. They're only 13 minutes and they talk about it. And I listened to this Xavi Simons one, I listened to the Florian Wirtz one, which was great. And then when I finished it, I got my phone out, I went on the app and I brought him in and captained him for that first game because, I mean, he is quite talent. He's come back from this crazy huge injury. Apparently, he's
See
even
now,
better.
now I have my Gundogan pick because I just love Gundogan because I'm just
Look, he's a good
got
pick.
a lot of
He's on
love for
penalties.
Gundogan.
He's a good pick. And by the way, on penalties, you've just see there if you're watching on YouTube, there is a on the Euro 2024 stuff as well. There's a penalty and set piece takers article
Yeah.
that covers every, and this is the sort of information we need. Like, you can look into the data all you want, but the data of who's on pens is probably one of the most important things in set pieces and stuff. So you can see there, look, every single penalty taker and direct free kick. I'm not going to show you it all because you need to sign up to do that. But yeah, it's all there. There's so much information. So it really is worth doing. Sorry, go on.
Do you think in this how, because you've put more the strategy side, you put more time in than I have. There are also some team reveals which I'm reading through. People like Milanista is also an expert as
on the site,
Euro fantasy, and we've got some of the regular pro pundits doing their strategies. I need to read through those, but how much of it is going to be first week? The one challenge here for me with this tournament is the 7 weeks and effectively the final and maybe the semis. I guess like really, it's diminishing returns in terms of catching up ground, right?
Yes.
It's gonna be harder to catch up ground. So it's match days 1 and 2 feel like that's if you've really just got to nail that.
It's like investing in a pension, Chris. When you're younger, you really go risky, and as you get older, if you're in part of a pension,
What's a pension?
Exactly. Yeah, what? Yeah, same. And yeah, you dial down the risk because you less. I don't know why, but I don't know what point I'm making. But yes, you're completely right. When you start, the ground to be made up is you want to be leaving the group stages in a really good position. If you're not, it's gonna be tricky.
Yeah, because if you're not, there's still gonna be opportunities to claw back. But I imagine.
But in the knockouts, your budget goes up to 105 million, so you can pick more premium players. Yeah. Everyone kind of ends up with the same team by the semi-finals, pretty much, apart from a couple of differentials.
Yeah, you're not turning it around in the quarter to the semis and the finals. Not turning it around.
Well, you've got to do big risks to do that. So, like in the semi-finals, say France are playing England, the way you'd make ground is just sacking off all French defenders and going 5 England at the back, and then hoping we don't concede. It's that sort of thing that does it.
I heard that that's how you guys played the people that were challenging you in the Champions League fantasy and all went big on Dortmund, which
well, I didn't. That's why I won.
Didn't prove to be a great.
I won, by the way. I don't know whether I told you that.
A big margin as well.
Yeah, exactly, a very very healthy margin. Look, it's one of those. It's one of those things. So I think it's definitely worth. This is why I'm currently. Thinking all the chips in the group stages, just because the upside there is just where it's at. You can be really differential.
Yeah, I think
you can make differences.
I think chip strategy is probably key, but it's the one. I mean, you've got to start the first week and then obviously
I think you do have to have an element of flexibility. Yeah.
Obviously, if you're planning to use chip game week 2, then you don't worry so much, do you? Because you can do, depending which chip you use, but you don't have to panic.
Yeah.
Too much about whether those are also good kind of fixtures for the second week. But yeah, no, there's a lot. There's almost too much information to suck in here. I totally agree with you. Like I was looking at heat maps this afternoon. I was trying to. I know from the friend. There's the data slightly from the qualifiers. You've got a lot of data because they're properly covered. From the friendlies, the data that has is slightly more sporadic, but still has the core things there. But it's just I'm trying to sort of find those players that are. Those defenders that I don't know that are creeping forward, and I think that's where like things like heat maps and the data in these things can be quite useful because if you don't like in the Premier League, you've seen most of those players play a lot, and who the full backs are going to get forward or who are the midfielders that will really be bombing into the box frequently. You'll get all that because you'll know who the players are, but with this. Unless you're watching every, but if you're looking at trying to get someone in from one of the sort of smaller kind of nations or fill out a space, you're just not going to know necessarily who's doing that for Slovakia or Albania. You're not necessarily going to know which of those players, and that's why you need to just absorb as much information as possible, right?
Yeah, no, totally, you do, and it's one of those things where the more you kind of absorb, and you let it kind of percolate in your own head, one of two things happens. Either you come to a crystal clear view of what you're going to do, or like me, you just end up not being able to sleep and sort of with a web of absolute chaos going on in your head of every single possibility. It's like the time guy Benedict Cumberbatch in the Avengers, where he looks at every single possibility, like 15 million, and how many in how many of them do we win? One. And therefore trying to find that one route through the 15 million different combinations. I just need Iron Man to die at the end, and then sorry if you haven't seen the film.
I think
sorry if that's a spoiler.
You might have gone slightly off at a tangent there, but
they get it. Yeah, if they've been watching on YouTube, they're used to this by now. Some of them like it, some of them don't. It's all right, Look,
there's some other stuff I was going to point out. There's looking at one of the things of this game is really crucial, again, which is something to get your head around as a FPL player, is things like ball recoveries, because ball recoveries, every three, right? Don't get this wrong, you get a point, right? So I think that's great as a fantasy thing generally. I think that would be great to be an addition to FPL, to be honest, because
it makes defensive midfielders. Yeah, it makes them.
And that was always the challenge with FPL. How could you care about Kante or whatever? It's like why would Schneiderlin ever be interesting? And as a person, I'm sure he's lovely, but you know what I mean. But yeah, there's already we've got these custom stats tables listing the kind of top players in the different teams and across the whole of qualifying for ball recoveries, and players like sort of Granit Xhaka's coming up quite really high in that. There's obviously teams that aren't in there, but a lot of it's a great way to look through and see that there's Albanian players that have got quite good ball recoveries, and actually because they are going to be on the defensive a lot, then you think those are areas they're not used to being because they're trying to win the ball back, so there are going to be good opportunities for them. And I think that's something that I'm kind of perusing at the moment. If and when I need to go for a bit of a differential kind of picks, have you gone for any players from the less favoured nations, shall we say?
Well, so let me ask you this, Chris. What do you know? What do you want to hear a funny email that's just come through? I'll share this live while we're doing this. Hi, long-time subscriber here who doesn't usually comment, but I've been watching the videos and Ed is doing my head in. Thanks for the feedback, guys. Cheers. Do like and subscribe.
Don't worry, Ed's not going to be the only person. Ed's talking a lot about Euros and Champions League, but other people will also
sack me after. Yeah, I have had some nice comments as well. So there you go. You're not gonna please everyone. Look, my tip. What's your chip strategy? Do you actually know it yet, Chris? What have you based your team now on? I based my team now on finishing the first week really strong. At the moment, it's finishing the first week really strongly and being okay with the second week and not worrying about chips, to be brutally honest. Okay. I haven't really kind of wandered into the well, that's the bit that I need to I know that's a really stupid way to play it, but like I think I can affect that first game week, and I want to get as many points so I feel in a good position. But yeah, at the moment I did think I was gonna hold the wild card for later, or after the group stages. So I wasn't thinking of playing that early. I'm maybe now thinking that I will play it as I want now, but maybe bring Limitless in for 2. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And then see where we are, right? Yeah.
What about you? Where are you at with it?
Well, so there's quite a few people who are picking their team based on not playing a chip in the first 2, and then Limitless in 3, and then wildcard in quarterfinal, which is like the Praz model. FPL Harry's doing that. I think Gianni's doing that. FPL managers, lots of them have gone down that route. Now, yeah. Lewis's comment is they're FPL managers. They do not understand these games are sprints. Right, in his very sort of matter-of-fact way, you listen to him on the podcast, right? They're great FPL managers, but in FPL you long-term strategize and you want to be safe, and because it's over 38 weeks. In this, it's make or break. You've got to be aggressive and that sort of thing. So I'm currently building my team to play both chips in the group stages, which means my team is just for match day 1. I don't need to think about others. So what that's led me to at the moment is Triple Italy, because they're playing Albania. So DeMarco and Buongiorno.
So you're just targeting every soft match.
So the teams, for example, I'm targeting are Germany. I've got two from Germany because they're playing Scotland. I've got Ukrainian keeper playing Romania.
We're going to get letters about that. I mean,
We've got, I know, yeah, exactly. Sorry, Scottish fans. I've got the Dutch keeper, Verbruggen, in goal because they're playing Poland and Lewandowski's injured, so they're going to be a bit blunt, I think. I've got Ronaldo and Fernandez who are playing Czech Republic. I've got triple Belgium who are playing Slovakia. I've got Szoboszlai because I had one other position. I thought I like him, and he's playing Switzerland, so whatever. And then I've got Mbappe versus Austria. You'd think so that's probably going to change a little bit. I mean, I might bring another France. I probably should. Yeah, but the beauty of that, of course, is whether I do well, whether I do badly or not, I've got a whole fresh start playing a chip in game week 2 that again is going to be a free hit, and then matchday 3 is going to be a free hit.
You're going to play. It doesn't really matter which order you play them in either, does it? If you're going to play them,
I think it. Well, essentially no, but I think.
So remind me again. My brain's just thinking about chips because then you get to basically get a free hit or a wild card rather
between the group stage, the group stages and the knockouts. Yeah. So the template chip strategies for playing them in the groups is the wild card in matchday 2 and the limitless in 3. Because in matchday 2, a lot of the big teams are playing each other. France are playing Holland, Italy are playing Spain, England are playing Denmark, which might be their hardest game. There's a couple of others, tricky fixtures. So avoid those and do something differential in matchday 2 with the wild card, whatever, because you're not going to need the limitless element of that because there's you're not going to spend your whole budget because they're from smaller teams and cheaper players. And then limitless in 3 because you can target. I mean, there's 4, 5, or 6. Teams that Portugal playing Georgia.
My worry about 3 with limitless, and maybe this is me just thinking about previous tournaments, is you will get a few. They just tend to be kind of tighter games. I feel that final group stage, either because people have got something to play for and they need just a point to stay in, or because they've won comfortably in the first 2 games, they're not playing the first team anyway. That doesn't mean that's, but then I don't know. Maybe what I haven't done and what we should do and what we get teams to do is work out, is give some information and data on what happened in game weeks 2 and 3. How many goals were scored in each last time around? We can do that actually. I've got all the data I can do it myself in the members area. I can do it myself to see how many match goals were scored in that last game. Because in my head, I'm feeling that's quite a cagey final round. People either just need a point just to guarantee it, or
I mean, look into that's an interesting piece of data that'll be. So do look. I mean, I looked back at my big thing with matchday 3 limitless was isn't there loads of rotation because people are through and people are not.
Yeah.
But there's good points made by Lewis. One, teams are going to want to finish first, not second, because it makes a big difference. You might even end up playing a third place team in the round of 16 because some of the third place teams go through. And also, we went through some of the history of the last tournaments and actually. There hasn't been the chaos that we've predicted in the round of 16 much. I mean, there was last time, but the times before that there hasn't.
No, it's true that the game should get more competitive as you go forward. You shouldn't get as many mismatches, right?
Yeah.
So the mismatches are
in theory, yeah.
I increasingly think this is the way forward to play the chips there. It's just whether it's which way round. I say that it's kind of the same chip, just that the difference is obviously you can play any players there's no budget.
It's just the budget, right? and match day 3 is the one to play, the one with no budget, because there's a lot of big teams you can target: Belgium, Spain, England. There's a whole bunch. I haven't got them in front of me, but it's going to be expensive. Whereas playing it in match day 2, it's not going to be very expensive because you're going to be avoiding France, you're going to be avoiding Holland, you're going to be avoiding Spain, you're going to be avoiding Italy. You might even go down to 1 England. It's a bit like that. So you're not going to need the limitless element of that. I don't think, but
you've got Spain, Albania. I guess you'll know then as well. You'll know who's in form and
you'll know who needs to win as well.
Yeah, but
if Spain need to win, you go, well, they're definitely playing their first team.
You'll know if Kane looks like he's struggling a bit, or or Depay's playing for. I know that's a much debated discussion I'm informed for the Dutch. Interesting. I don't think that necessarily changes what I do game week 1 though. Well, it shouldn't change at all because if you're gonna play, if you're going to use a chip. I'm thinking game week 2, for the reasons I've been listening and heard and seeing the matchups and say some of the big teams against each other. I'm not as keen on Italy though. I'm not as keen on Italy as you are. Why is the
well? I'm only keen on Italy because I'm only doing 1 game and they're playing Albania.
Yeah, so you won't have any of them really until then. Just the match.
Well, match day 1.
Spain, Italy, nothing. I mean, you're right here. I mean, Germany, Hungary is actually Hungary did really well in the quarters, and it's quite a difficult difficult game. Yeah, you're right. It is the fixtures as has been discussed.
Hmm.
Yeah, are harder in that second match day two.
But
Yeah,
look,
no,
this is
definitely.
this wildcard strategy has been done to death now on all these things, and I think
Yeah,
ultimately
hang
whether
on.
you play chips in the groups or whether you go limitless three and wild card in the quarterfinal, they've both got their pluses and they've both got their negatives. I think the thing that got me when Lewis was describing it on the audio podcast, the UEFA Fantasy podcast we do, was these games are sprints. It's about being aggressive, and playing the chips in the group
Yeah,
stage is the aggressive move, and that's how I play. So, and I was like, oh yeah, of course it is. Definitely going to do that. Yes, there's
no, no,
risks
no.
involved. That if
It
loads of big
makes
teams go
sense.
out, you need to you'll be scrambling around. But
Yeah.
all right, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, that this is. I mean, I guess that is the counter. Is that yeah? If you've then got to be very agile with your team beyond that because if one of those teams you're backing heavily goes out, then
But it's just
it's
we're going with the odds with this one because it's probably not going to happen that the big teams go out. I mean,
yeah.
the odds suggest it's not going to happen. The odds suggest the semi-final is going to be England, France, Portugal, and Belgium or something. And yes, probably one of them will have dropped out in some shock, but not all four. So I think it's worth the risk.
No, fair enough. I think that's probably kind of shaped my direction as well, especially if all the FPL creators are going the different route and are
Well,
doing
Late
one
Riser
chip.
isn't. So Late Riser and FPL General are both doing their chip strategy
Well,
in the
they're
Late Riser listened
sensible.
to our pod, and he wasn't going to play, by the way. No, sorry, FPL General wasn't going to play Euro
He
Fantasy.
said he was off. He said he's taking this summer off.
Yeah,
The liar.
and he said it was my videos that persuaded him. I've got the WhatsApp. I'm going to
He
frame
said
it.
he said I can't let this guy.
Yeah,
I can't let this guy
basically.
be the expert.
If this guy
I must
can, yeah, exactly.
hastily.
But he is kind of having time off from doing content because I did say, "Oh, can you come on a video?" And he was like, "No, I'm still not doing content, which is fine. He needs a break. He's relentless through the season. If any of you listen to his podcast, which you should, by the way, in the
Which is
FPL
very
season,
good. Yeah, this is
59th
very
minute
good.
podcast, really really good. The
Who's have you got any differentials that are still knocking around your kind of you know
thoughts.
the thoughts on the edge of your team but aren't quite in there? Is there anybody you're thinking could just sneak in that might be a bit of a surprise?
Well,
That obviously you
De
don't want to
Bruyne
ruin
is
against your competitive edge, but
yeah. I've got De Bruyne in my team, who's expensive for that first game. I mean, I have
I had
said
De
it.
Bruyne. I was laughed at. I removed De Bruyne, so there we
Well,
go.
exactly.
I've
So
gone
I'm
for
about to
cross
say
side
he
here.
has only just gone in because I had the money, and I don't know. I'm not 100% clear. Not that De Bruyne is. I don't think De Bruyne is a good player. Clearly, he's incredible. But just how he fits in this Belgian team, and he hardly played in qualifying, and maybe I should just go De Bruyne is De Bruyne. He's going to be amazing, and this is his last chance to win a tournament with them, pretty much. I mean, not one of his last chances anyway. So yeah, I mean, who are the differentials? I mean, I might bring Trent in at the back. Now, he's probably not going to be differential for very long, and particularly if this news is kind of confirmed that he's going to be starting.
Yeah.
Although, that's just the problem is we're not going to get it confirmed, are we, unless there's leaks. Szoboszlai, I mean, he's not differential. There's hardly any differentials on my team now. I mean, Buongiorno at the back is 1% owned for me, for Italy. He's a nailed 4.5 million starting centre-back. It's a bit boring. I might upgrade him to Di Lorenzo if I find out for sure that Di Lorenzo is starting right-back for Italy. But at the moment, there's rumours he might be right centre-back, which kind of blunts his ability there, so I may as well just get Buongiorno. Who is a differential? Who else? I mean, there is a bit of a if you've looked around YouTube and Twitter and everything, there is a bit of a template sort of forming a little bit around sort of teams that have the double Italy or triple Italy because they've got a good first game, particularly if you're playing a chip match day 2, even double Italy if you've got the match day 1 and match day 2 because you can take one out. Remember, I've been saying quite a few videos off the top of my head, I was thinking, that you get 3 transfers per match day. You don't, you get 2. I forgot that.
Yeah.
And you can carry over only 1. So, now that's not going to be relevant for me if I'm playing a chip anyway because you don't carry over anything, you play a chip. But yeah, I don't know. What about you? Have you got any big differentials that you're thinking
I've
of?
been again trying not to plug everything. So my knowledge is being augmented by the people's at the moment. I've been looking around the kind of the best player list on Scout, which I think some of which is at least in the members area where the data is. And yeah, there's a few defenders. I don't want to give them all away, but there's a few defenders that I'm kind of looking at that I wouldn't necessarily have thought, or at least different defenders within existing teams. I mean, yeah, I mean the one debate which I'm trying to get solved for me is this Van Dijk, Dumfries. I was completely nailed on Dumfries. I'm now with Van Dijk. I know that the penalty taking, likely penalty taking duty should make that decision. Should kind of probably make that cast iron. I again have to really check how many penalties the Dutch get. But on average. But yeah, that's a decision. I hadn't thought at all until recently about. That's why I was asking about Italy, about Italian players, and maybe it is seeing it on Twitter elsewhere. I'm starting to think about maybe there's a few players like sort of DeMarco. I don't know. There's a few players I'm kind of suddenly thinking they should be in the mix. Really, I'm quite happy with it. I'm generally quite happy with my team, but it is, like you say, the more you look at it, the more you kind of suddenly go, oh, actually, I could just squeak something here, and maybe the thing that's going to throw up a span in the works is I'm convinced now this metal stat guy won't play, and
That
B
doesn't
gonna be.
exist. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like, has anybody seen him?
Yeah.
Really, it's just not. But like, if suddenly he's not, there's some sort of outcast at 11th hour, or he just doesn't play. There's all these teams that's going to be like, oh, bugger. I guess in that maybe if he's a make weight that may play, that may be okay. But people get on these bandwagons, don't they? They're like, oh, we've got to have that play. You can't possibly think of anyone else. You've got to have him in, and he's yeah, he's become one of them. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to go and look at Verts again, which was annoying because I quite
Well,
happily ignored that.
genuinely, Athletic, honestly, listen to the 13-minute thing. It's not.
I'm not listening to some. I've got so many bloody podcasts to listen to. I've been listening to this is another thing, right? This is probably not the most fun. This is just us chatting. But we are like, I think the interesting thing about this is I'm probably much more the average fantasy manager than most of the people doing these talks, and I'm kind of trying to get through all the content. There's some brilliant. You guys on UCL did some the UCL podcast affiliated
It's now
with
called the
us.
UEFA Fantasy
UEFA
Podcast.
podcast, sorry, UEFA podcast. It still says UCL on one of the sites.
Yeah.
UEFA podcast, which supported by, sort of semi-supported by UEFA. But that is you did these great group guides, and then there's great group guides which are similar but slightly different on the site. And I'm going through that, kind of trying to sort of team by team think, oh, there's a few gems I've not really thought of. And then yeah, the chip strategy ones, I've kind of gone through a couple of chip strategies and then a couple of team reveals, and like it's just all swirling at the moment. I'm trying to
I think
stick in a way that
at this point, there's two options, isn't there? It's either right, I'm going to keep consuming content right up to the deadline, or it's right, I'll give myself a deadline of Thursday night to consume the content, and then Friday, no more content, just what am I going to do? And I need to make a decision, because I think I'm going to have to do that because I'm getting so flipping confused. Because you hear a really good argument for one chip strategy, then you hear a really good argument for another, then you hear a really good argument for one player. It's like I've noticed something about you. If I just suggest a player or anyone does, you're like, yeah, that's a good one, yeah, and then you bring him in, and then the next one, bring him in, the next one, bring him in.
No, I'm easily swayed. Like that, like
Yeah.
I say, I'm trying to get like trying to calculate what are the most. I don't know what are the tips and players that are the most popular that I go, I've kind of got to go with that, versus trying to keep one or two differentials. And I think that is the thing, because ultimately, if we all go with the same team, it's a very simple game, isn't it? Very boring game. So it's trying to find that differential angle now, that those edges and those players. Again, that's why I'm looking at sort of heat maps and going through kind of friendly results and trying to kind of find something that somebody else hasn't really necessarily picked on yet, because they've gone for the sexier players. It's going to be yeah, it's going to be an interesting, certainly going to be kind of an interesting test on a short run of expertise and insight versus like just hunch and gut. Because I think within FPL over a season, the insight and that the time spent definitely wins. I think it's increasingly so as well. I think people that come into it just not listen to anything, have a map and not reading anything and not checking data, are going to get beaten. It's almost impossible to not get beaten, because you've got a long season, more variables. And it's just unlikely you can just stick with your gut all that time. over a shorter frame, 7 game weeks, maybe it's a bit different. I don't know. So I'll be really interested to see. I kind of love it actually. Obviously, if members win, I'd much rather Premier FFS premium members win. And actually on that point, we should stick it in the on the site. We've got a league, the FFScout Scout League. So please do go and join that if you are a free member. So you can just, as a free member, there are prizes up for grabs which include premium memberships and stuff, so you can win
I think
something.
the
If you're a
link is
premium
always in the
member,
YouTube description as well, so you can just
yeah,
make sure you
great.
click
Okay,
it.
fantastic. If you're a premium member, there's actual kind of cash prizes are on the line. So for the top, I think it's top 5 kind of premium members, there are actual some cash that can be won on that game. And similarly, we've got that's the official UEFA game, obviously. Similarly, there's a fan team game where money can be won, and again, that's another reason of this data can help you, right? Because there's this. That's remind me about the fan team game. That's a free.
Yeah. So Fanteam are running a competition called Beat the Pundits. The links will be in below. You might have seen earlier on under our heads it said sponsored by Fanteam. They are running an incredible exclusive tournament for us. It's completely free. You can enter. You don't need to do a deposit or anything like that. You just need to be over 18, create an account, and join. And the idea is, first of all, there's a prize pool of £2,000, so that's not bad, right? But second of all, if you beat the Fantasy Football Scout team, which we'll be going through tomorrow in one of our videos, then you win a premium month's membership at Scout to try it out. So every single user who does that, I think the league's
I don't count as a pundit to be beaten.
There's about 1,000 people in the league
fair.
at the moment, so really, really good numbers. And why not? It's absolutely no reason not to. It's completely free. It takes 2 minutes. You fantasy players will understand how it works. It's a bit different to UEFA, but I'm not going to explain it to you now. You can work it out. But the link will be in the description below. Do click it and make a team. You'll need the password,
I think you might
which
well,
is
right?
Pundits 2024. Pundits 2024, because it is a passworded league.
And when you might as well, I think we obviously we want to see the football, we've got to enjoy it, but you might as well play some fantasy along with it. It adds a bit of extra intrigue to some of those games, right? Which we're all going to be cheering for our nation and a few others. I'm actually going out. I'm going out to Euros next week.
So. I know you are.
I've bagged the prime match, which everyone wanted. So there you go.
What's that?
That's the Poland Austria game, which I think is what
that's the World War II game. The two countries invaded first.
We're in Germany. That's definitely the first. That's what I'm going to lead with. This is.
It's a good question. So, do you guys like each other, or yeah?
You can't come.
Yeah, I should probably. This is why I shouldn't be left alone too long on YouTube. It's over 40 minutes.
We can still get tickets for the for Netherlands, France. So we might. I don't know. It's Germany's bigger than England.
It is.
So if you want to get to multiple games, it's quite a slog getting around.
Yeah.
I mean, the train system's great and everything, but it is like everything. It's about like 5-6 hours between places. But Berlin to Leipzig's not too far. So we were looking at it. We were working out. We could see like first half Poland, Austria, then go about halfway through the second half, get on a train to Leipzig, and still make the game. What could go wrong? So
yes, exactly. This is like one of those Channel 4 programs where a celebrity goes around traveling with their dad or something, and it's going to everything goes completely wrong. Look,
without a celebrity.
Exactly. Let's wrap it up there, Chris. Thank you very much for that kind of almost just general chat really about Euros. Just talking about our site. Obviously, if you do want to sign up for the super duper offer, it's www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and then just click sign up now. Really obvious. When does that close? It's a limited offer. 1st of July, is it?
We will have that open until the end of the month. The discount deal, and then because we'll be leaning into FPL much more from the start of July, and there'll be different things we promote then and stuff. So, but yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff coming actually for FPL, which obviously all members that buy will get whatever we add. There's a lot of new services and bits and pieces we're adding in, and I think it's going to be. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it for just even the augmented articles and the members articles, but then there's all the data. The kind of competitions, all that stuff on top of it, and I think it's worth it. But I would say that, wouldn't I? But equally, if you're not going to subscribe as a member, that's totally cool. You can come along. There's loads of stuff available for free. There's some other stuff available for sort of free members. So you can join and comment and be engaged a little bit without going full on premium. You want to try things out, so do come along And just enjoy all the content that we love putting together. I say we. I obviously don't do any of this content because, as you can tell from listening to me for the last half hour, yeah, I'm as in the dark as many of you. But yeah, looking forward to the kickoff. 48 hours. In 2 days, it'll have happened.
I know.
Be over.
Well, yeah. I still don't think Chris understands the tournament, but anyway. Right. Thank you very much, everyone. Say goodbye, Chris.
Bye, Chris.